I want to say thank you to Tara for agreeing to come and speak to us. So she has recently published this beautiful book. I don't know if that shows in mirror view, so it might be reversed for you, but she's written this gorgeous book. And, oh, lovely. Oh, that shows up perfectly for me, so yeah. And yeah, she's going to talk to us around the themes of the book. So if you're an entrepreneur or a wannabe entrepreneur, you've got your own business, or you're just starting up, or you're thinking about it, this is a really great sort of opportunity to hear about how you can sort of navigate your business through tapping into your chakra system, and ask Tara any questions that you want to, because how often do you get the chance to actually speak to the author of a book, right? So Tara, over to you. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you, Samina. Thank you for organising this, and thank you everyone so much for joining. It's really an honour, and yeah, I'm really grateful to be able to share this this book baby with you guys. So thank you. To begin, I'd actually really like us to just do a little heart meditation from the book. So just, just inviting you to close your eyes and just start to breathe into your body. You might like to place one or both of your hands on your heart space as we do this. And so just breathing. I'm just beginning to feel the energy of your heart. I'm just noticing anything, the colours, the shape. I'm just noticing what you notice. And just breathe into it. Softly, deeply, compassionately. Feel it beating. Feel it giving you life force. Feel it holding you. Feel the stillness. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. And just ask your heart, what does it need today? And trust the answer, and just do what you can to give it to yourself later. And then when you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself back into the space. Okay, everyone, so welcome again. And before I get into the book, I just want to share a little bit about me and sort of how I came to write this book, Embodied Business. So my entrepreneurial journey started about 20 years ago, or actually when I was 9, to be fair, but properly, I suppose, 20 years ago. And, since then, I've had many different jobs. I first started working in PR and marketing, sort of working my way up in the travel and leisure and retail sectors. I worked up to an account manager, and then decided I was sort of done with that and wanted to become the business manager, to learn about how businesses run, from the HR behind the scenes, business development, administration, HR, everything that goes on with running a business. So I did that for a few more years, and then got a bit tired of that and wanted to try something else. And so I bit that freelance bullet and went off on my own, starting to work for a number of different businesses in sectors that I was passionate about. And at the time, that was food and hospitality, as well as sort of anything with environmental ethos, etc., like anything that was quite conscious. So I did a lot of freelancing in these areas, supporting in PR and marketing particularly, but also a bit as a virtual assistant, and just kind of doing everything and anything to help these businesses which also tended to be entrepreneurs kind of building their businesses. So it was also, very sort of fitting and aligned for what I was feeling. But all this time, I really, really knew I wanted my own business. I just didn't know what I wanted it in. And so I knew I was getting, all this wonderful experience. I was really learning from a lot of different people, lots of different ways of doing things. I've been in corporate, more kind of, I suppose, masculine, typical Western working world, to entrepreneurs trying it, creatives, and just really getting a mix of experience. But, there's a part of me that really wanted to do it on her own. So I at the same time, I started studying health coaching, and I'd always been interested in nutrition and had done, I'd read books on it since the age of 10 and devoured them. So it seemed like a natural fit to start doing that. And so I became a health coach, certified health coach, and started my health coaching business. And I thought, okay, this is great. I know what to do in business. I've learned so much. I've done PR and marketing. I know how to get out there, all these things. And I started, but it wasn't quite what I expected. All this stuff comes up. You have to share yourself. You have to get out there. You're the person doing everything. And, when you're doing it for someone else, it's quite different to doing it on your own, and to being that, that visible person, the person, as a coach, people want to work, they're buying you in a way, they're buying into me, they're buying like my energy, how I'm going to be able to support them. So sharing that and getting that across, it's like, whoa, this is a whole nother journey. This is a whole nother, ball game for me to sort of get my head around and start to understand. It was, wasn't stuff I'd been taught in the working world whatsoever. That was all the practical systems, processes, all that kind of, what to do. None of the inner energetics and sort of the mindset, things like that. And I know that, the world is changing and a lot more of that is coming out. But when I was in it, it just wasn't stuff I learned whatsoever. So I basically realized that there was all these things that I needed to sort of, go into myself and get through, blocks, this fear of being visible, of showing up, of, sharing what I wanted to say, of feeling safe to express my truth, share my stories, share what I was doing. I had so much fear around putting it, telling family and friends, especially. That was the hardest part. New people wasn't so difficult because they don't know me. They don't know who I am, what I'm, trying to do or be. People that knew me and had connections with me, that was really hard. And so just, all these different things going on to try and, overcome whilst, running a business, getting clients, making it sustainable. That's the dream for me, at least. And having a business that supports me and supports people and does the work, I'm able to do the work that I'm passionate about and really want to do in this world. So this journey, took me all around, and I eventually ended up, supporting mainly women with seasonal and cyclical self-care, whilst doing a lot of the inner work. And then I ended up stopping that. It wasn't resonating for me anymore. So I was trying to do programs. I was trying to force things, to push things, to try and make, something happen that way, that masculine way of, okay, just put something out there, just make it happen, keep trying to sell. And it just felt so off, for quite a few months. So I eventually surrendered and just left it and thought, okay, look, something's got to come from all this. I've got this health coaching. I've worked in PR and marketing. I'm still doing a little bit of that part-time, but feeling like I could do this, as a business as well, but I'm doing a health coach. There was just so much going on. It was all very overwhelming. And so, yes, I surrendered it and thought, okay, look, please, just something's got to come from this. And at the end of January this year, actually, it was the day I was actually packing up my room to leave London. This whole idea of aligning your business with the chakras just suddenly popped into my head, and it was a pretty magical moment. And it was like all the jobs I'd had, all the things I wanted to do and loved doing as well, all kind of fit into the chakra system. So, for those who don't know, if you haven't read the intro stuff, so the root chakra was like your business basics, your website, your presence, your social media profiles, etc., your systems and processes. The sacral chakra was your branding and identity, your unique brand and tone and identity for your business that represents your offering. The solar plexus chakra was fully embodied well-being, looking after yourself so that you're grounded and embodied as a business owner, this part being absolutely essential and, huge part of my work. The heart chakra was all about, sharing from the heart, producing, marketing materials such as blogs, opt-ins, videos, etc., that are authentic and aligned with you. Then there was the throat chakra, which is, working with the PR and media, your conscious communications. And then the third eye chakra, your vision and planning. And, having a vision for your business so that, you can see where it's going and you're planning ahead. And then finally, the crown chakra, which was some of the more spiritual stuff I had been really, tapping into and using. And this is connecting to the field. So really aligning with your divine guidance and really allowing that to be a part of your business, to co-create with you. So this was an incredible thing when that happened. I was like, wow, it's like, okay, so this is why I've done all this stuff. It just all fits together. And this is a really, really cool way to support entrepreneurs, which I was really, being one myself, I was really passionate about. And so I went with it. I basically created a PDF of the offers and just put them together and sort of started sharing with some friends and colleagues to see what they thought. I then started an Instagram account and opened a Facebook group, and I began. I didn't do a website or anything like that. I just started with those things just to see, how it went, how it felt, and started sharing. And it was really wonderful. I was getting great feedback. People were interested. It was finally feeling really aligned and exciting. But as I began to sort of work with people on this journey, and, from my own journey, I couldn't ignore the things that had come up, those blocks, those fears, especially fear, along that entrepreneurial journey. I couldn't ignore that. And so it was becoming so important that I needed to address the inner work that comes up on the journey, and I was getting this intuitive nudge inside me, which was getting louder and louder and louder. It started in probably about February, March time. Well, maybe March time. Yeah, until May, when I finally surrendered, and it was telling me, you have to write a book on this. The book that you need to write is not about the practical stuff. There's so much info out there about that. It's the inner work, the inner energetics. And as I sort of started to do this, it became really also apparent that, of course, they also align with the 7 main chakras in the body, which was also so beautiful. So it just all fit really, really perfectly together. So I have the 7 main chakras in the body, which have different blocks that come up in them, well, how I see them. And they are always open to, your interpretation. And you might find what comes up as a block in one may also come up in others. And that, of course, there's overlaps too. And then I have the Earth Star Chakra and the Soul Star Chakra as anchor points. So another essential part of business, that grounding, Mother Earth grounding in the Earth Star Chakra, and absolute divine love from the Soul Star Chakra. And so so that's how the book came, and and it includes stories and examples from my own and clients' experiences, as well as inspiration and practical actions to take to support you. So that's kind of how the book came about. But now I'm going to share with you a little bit from the main blocks that I see that come up again and again. And then at the end, what we're going to do is connect with a visualization, like connect to your fear, any fear that might be coming up around anything, to really connect with it and to help you move through it, hopefully. So the first block is not taking action. And this is super, super common, I know. And it comes up, all these blocks can come up again and again on the entrepreneurial journey. It's not like a beginning and an end. It's like, it's cyclical, as we know, and it kind of goes up. And, you reach a new level and it's like, oh, it's that little block again. Okay, yeah. So that always happens too. So not taking action, I personally see, as a crown chakra block, but it also could, of course, come into other chakras depending on what's stopping you from taking action. So, this can come up a lot at the beginning of the entrepreneurial journey. I know I absolutely did not take action for a long time. One, because I didn't really know what I was doing, but also I just, all the fear of what will people think, all of, it's easier to not do it than to actually do it. We were afraid of what others might think, fear of failure, all those things, really, really coming to the forefront. And they'll stop you, they can stop you from taking action. And of course, there are many more reasons as well. But so what I'm going to do is offer some other reasons as to why you might not, be taking that action. So what you're trying to do might not be aligned for you. So we're so conditioned, I feel personally, to do things because we feel we have to, because that's the thing to do, because someone else has told us to, or because that's the way someone else has done it. But actually, you might not be feeling it inside yourself. So you're subconsciously stopping yourself from doing it. So what I really recommend doing is checking in with yourself, checking in with your heart, your intuition, and just seeing if it's something that feels good to you, feels if it's aligned for you, and that you aren't just doing it because you should. So really check in with that. And, coming into that is just trusting the timing of the action you're taking. So really, trust the timing. Maybe it's not right for you to take action quite yet. Another suggestion is that there may be a need for a deeper level of understanding in yourself. So not taking action might be because, there's more that you need. There's stuff in there for you to go into. So to give you an example, I came up against this when I was writing my first book, which is called Embodied, and is essentially, my healing journey, overcoming addictions and learning to love and look after myself. I had so much resistance to writing that book. And that's because I had to revisit parts of my life that were quite traumatic and actually feel them, sometimes for the first time ever, because I'd really numbed and escaped from a lot of my experiences. So, if this maybe comes up for you, you could, it's a call to dig deeper into yourself and to get the support where where you need it to help yourself move through it. Because maybe you need some holding, guidance, etc., a mirror perhaps just to help you. So yeah, this sort of leads on to my next point. So as we reach another level as well, inaction can come in. So as I sort of shared a bit, for me, this was sharing more visibly into a wider audience, or to a new audience even. When we expand into new levels, it can take some time to recalibrate into that level. So just allow yourself that time to support yourself as well. So that's just a little bit on not taking action as a chakra block, and a couple of, suggestions and ways to things to think about and to move through maybe. So the next kind of two together, because I do see them quite, closely interlinked, are expressing yourself and feeling safe to be seen. And so these are ones, that I still come up, oh yes, again and again, but not so strongly as they did in the beginning. And they are throat chakra blocks, and that's, that's how I like to see them, although they could definitely cross into the heart and others, because, there might be fear around being vulnerable or speaking your truth, etc. So a long time, one of my biggest fears was being seen. And I absolutely hated photos of me and wouldn't dream of being on camera. I wouldn't even talk to my family on video calls or let them take photos of me. So when I learned I had to market myself as a coach, that I would need to show my face to show people who I was, the person behind the business, I completely resisted for so long. It made sense logically that people needed to see me and get to know me if they wanted to work with me, but it was just like, no, I couldn't even bring myself to share a photo of myself on my Instagram. I think it was for 6 months. I think it felt so cringy and like, I can't do that. Yeah, it felt like I just felt I'd be judged, that I was being vain. I was way too vulnerable to share myself out there. And, it was a definite block to me being visible in my marketing, I feel personally. But, actually on the other hand, I loved being the center of attention when I was a child. So I would do anything to be the lead in school plays and get to speak at public events, do verse speaking, things like that. But then I had a number of experiences which sort of started to squash that. So I remember, a child and a friend actually in school telling me I couldn't always be the lead and I should give other people a chance. I overheard teachers telling, speaking and saying that I didn't look right for a part because I was very tall as well. I think I reached my height and I'm 5'8" when I was like 13 or 12 even. So I was quite tall, and yeah, I just didn't look right for the part. And I definitely felt jealousy and just like, who are you kind of thing. You as an empath, you feel a lot too. So I just began to shut that down. And then I began to hate it. I hated it. And so, that visibility fear grew stronger and stronger. And when I got to university, I was so petrified of sharing in class because I did an art degree and we'd have to share our projects with the whole group. I would miss that day. I'd make excuses at the last minute, so I wouldn't have to do it. I would feel physical physical problems as well, like in my body. So there was physical stuff going on for my excuses. And then when I started work, if I was involved in a pitch or had to share an idea in a brainstorm, I'd get so nervous that my stomach would be a complete mess, and I wouldn't be able to eat or drink anything beforehand. It just wasn't good for me. So this was something that really, I had to overcome and knew I did. And what helped me personally was joining a women's circle where we each took it in turns to share. And, it felt like a safe space with women, the same women mostly every week, with no interruptions, no advice giving, no judgment. It was just about you being you, and of course in the beginning, I was shaking and petrified, and I, didn't think I was going to do it. And I cancelled a few times, but then did it. I knew I had to do it. I could feel it. And, after some time, I began to feel really safe and able to open up and share, finding that it actually was okay to be seen in this space by people that didn't judge me, but that actually showered back love to me and resonated with what I was saying and actually had such similar experiences. I realized actually we're so much more alike than we are different. And it was just such a wonderful space to begin to open up. It was life-changing in helping me to build up my confidence. And I started to actually run those circles and then begin to do my own, and then this has led on to this, and so it was just actually come from there. And it was pretty life-changing experience being in that space with people I felt safe with, that felt supported by and didn't judge me. And I felt that. So we all need our cheerleaders, and we need to accept ourselves as we are, and then do what we can do to take to help ourselves to move forward. But having that support is so important. So this is something for you that comes up. I ask you, to ask yourself, what do you need to support you to share more visibly? And that's a question for you, just to really feel into, and then get that support and allow yourself to receive that support. Find the space for you, whatever that may be, however that may look. It might be something completely different from my experience, and that's perfect. But what support do you need? So this ties in quite closely to expressing yourself. So, some of the ways this might show up are, not speaking up, not sharing your opinion, not expressing yourself creatively, not speaking your truth, perhaps holding yourself back from sharing and expressing in any way. So, even after joining that women's circle and beginning to, I actually felt quite okay being seen, it happened relatively fast, I suppose, but it actually took me a lot longer to feel safe expressing myself fully, to really start sharing my opinions honestly, openly, or my full feelings, and my intuitive feelings and thoughts. I very often would hold back and let others speak and share before me, and still had this thing about maybe not feeling confident in what I had to say. I didn't want to be wrong, and I still didn't want to be judged. And so, a small part of that does come into me, wanting to feel into everything first and to know where I stand. And that's fine too. But I realized that even if, I had these like intuitive nudges about something, I wouldn't say anything. But then I'd noticed that maybe others would start to say what I was feeling and thinking. And it started to show me that, yes, what you do have to say is valid. Again, we are more alike than we are different. And trust yourself, trust what's coming up for you. Don't be so scared of sharing it. So I started to dive into this, and I did this actually a bit through some regression therapy and some meeting my fear and things, and that's why we'll do the visualization. But some of the things that came up for me through this were, those childhood memories, ancestral memories, as well as past life memories and traumas. And so this, this can be the case for many people. And I've had clients, a lot of clients who've also had fears around expressing themselves fully. And, a common theme for this is persecution for speaking up in our history, ancestrally, etc., past lives, whatever it might be, whatever you connect with, there is definitely a lot of that. Even culturally as a woman, so there's a lot there that we've got that we're still maybe holding on to and feeling, and, feeling that constriction, because of something. I've had clients that, during regressions have, connected to memories of being burned alive, hanged, cut at the throat, strangled, drowned, thrown off cliffs because of sharing their voices in some ways. And, you know, these things, most of them relate to the throat chakra area, don't they? You can feel that, you know, hanging, strangling, etc. It's all this area. And that's why that block is so strong there for many, you know. I mean, I know one client in particular, yeah, she knew that she was a writer, and she was having huge fear, excuse me, around, see, my throat's just a bit dry, through huge fear around sharing her words with anyone. And so she connected so powerfully to a regression, sort of to a memory around being burned alive, that when we did the regression, her entire body was also burning up as she regressed. And she learned why she was burned. You know, she learned that she was burned for speaking out against the status quo. And she realized in that memory, in that, you know, past life memory, that she'd actually been betrayed and sold out by her husband and labeled an outcast by everyone she loved. So this was her memory. And that was so vivid and strong for her. But, you know, as we worked together, holding her in love and acknowledging that experience and accepting it for that lifetime and giving her what she needed, she felt a huge release in her being. And you know, literally within days was able to start sharing more vocally and visibly. So these things can be cleared, but it's about starting to acknowledge them, and also to see where they are and where they come from. And you know, on a completely separate note, a practical way, excuse me, to support yourself to speak up is just simply to take action and let yourself speak up. So just start to do it. And it can be really scary, but action does help you overcome these things, overcome these blocks as well. And over time, you start to stop thinking about what others care. You stop caring about what others think, and you stop judging yourself, you know, for not saying the perfect thing, which is what I did. And as you do it, you know, the more confident you feel, the more, the more you accept yourself, the less you judge yourself also. So I have 2 questions here for you. Excuse me. What are you afraid of when it comes to expressing yourself? And what might be holding you back? And how can you begin to support yourself here? So just 2 questions to start to think about when it comes to this, if this is an area that you feel comes up for you. So the next one I want to share is owning your worth. And this for me is a solar plexus block, you know, that connecting to that authentic power, your value, your worth, your, you know, your center, your power, basically. And to me, this, you know, this comes from our really masculine way of living that currently dominates our working world. You know, I find worth has been given to things that we do, you know, more qualitative things, like far more than, you know, the intangible things that we can't see necessarily, that aren't so tangible, basically. And so it's presented a block, you know, for those in more healing, creative, intuitive professions. So, you know, things like, you know, finances, Western medicine, law, business are the ones that where people tend to claim their worth, and they know what they offer. In many cases, it can be physically measured and can charge accordingly. And so it seems to be easier to claim value here. And also, as these, you know, a lot of these services have been established for longer, at least, you know, in our more recent history. But, you know, as always, there are exceptions. And I do know many more people these days, especially in more intuitive healing professions, claiming and making their worth financially. But there are many, many empathpreneurs, especially in the beginning, you know, who don't know the value of what it is they offer and don't charge their worth at all, and end up feeling quite burnt out and depleted. And I definitely did that in the beginning of my journey. But, you know, absolutely in the early days, you know, you may have lower prices, of course, give things away at a discount, you know, offer free sessions, do exchanges, you know, perhaps in return for testimonials. Absolutely, of course, these things will happen. But, you know, it's always good to have a cutoff point and to know your value and know that how that changes over time as well with your ongoing development and growth. So, you know, also, I mean, it's always great to, you know, I also think it's great to do kind things for others, and I'll always do free work and, you know, give discounts to some people and things like that. So, you know, of course that's separate too. But, you know, realizing that, you know, what the value is and what you offer, and really starting to understand that and get to know, you know, all the things you offer, the intangible things, is so important if you are in more of a, you know, healing, creative, intuitive profession. So really owning that and claiming it. So, you know, these things are very, you know, to give you an example. So think of all the things that you just offer by being you. And so this is not something we're used to doing, you know, just by being, you, not doing, being. So, if you're a coach or a healer, you might hold space for others. You'll likely offer many qualities and gifts when you're doing that without even realizing. Things like being a good listener, making others feel safe and heard, allowing them to open up, providing empathy and compassion, sharing your intuitive wisdom, sharing and giving authentically from your heart and experiences. And just think about those things. Those are incredible things. I value those things immensely. Those are things that have changed my life. But we don't stop and think about that necessarily. It's those other things, hours, blah, 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 time, etc. Those practical things. And then, even stop and get feedback from people that you work with. And then you realize how powerful and life-changing they are. And that they're not necessarily physical, tangible things that can be easily described. So, one way to start owning your worth is to start seeing it as all as energy, which it is. Even money is energy. So think of the energy you put into something, perhaps your products, or the ways in which you prepare and show up for the work you do with people. All of that energy. When you do this, your mind can begin to see the true worth of what you actually are doing. So that's just something to think about. There might also be ancestral or past life wounds around owning your worth. For women in particular, there's a lot ancestrally and current, let's be honest, around being inferior, or only being, housewives or caretakers. And the qualities that are used in these roles aren't given as much worth in society, by society as a whole. So that has a ripple effect on how you might view yourself and your value. But if you feel that, there might be something in here from a past life or your heritage, I really recommend allowing yourself to feel into it, either alone or with someone to hold the space for you that you trust, so that, you can begin to understand where it comes from and heal it through acceptance and love, and then stop it as well in your lineage as well. So I think that's super important. Because, we are our past experiences, but we have the power to rewrite our future by claiming our worth. And, I personally feel that, I know all pretty many that do believe that, we need a fundamental shift in how we value the qualities that are more feminine. We really do, because they are the ones that are bringing this planet back into balance, and we need to value them so that we can also make a sustainable living for ourselves and then do the work we are here to do. So again, a couple of questions for you here. Where might you not be valuing yourself? And if you want to do this exercise, so write a list of all the qualities that you give or use in your business. And if you don't have one, maybe just in your day-to-day or in a situation, things that you can't necessarily see or measure. And if you had to put a price on these in terms of the energy that you give out, what would that be? So just a couple of things to think about. So those are the 3-4 chakra points that I wanted to share from the different points in the body. There are many in this book for each of the chakras as well. But because I also want to share one thing there, which I want to read from the book, from the Earth Star Chakra, because looking after yourself in business, grounding, well-being, self-care, it's essential. And it's just, I see it actually as 50% of this journey, to be honest. And the more I look after myself, the more I take that time and dive deeper into what I need, growth, personal expansion, love, whatever it might be for myself, holistically, the more I'm able to show up for my business and my clients, claim my worth, step into, be seen, be visible, all these things, they come from myself as well, be looking after myself, believing I'm worth it and deserve it as well. So the one bit I wanted to read, there's lots of different stories in the book, in the Earth Star Chakra section as well. But I just want to read the bit about community, because this, I think, is one of the biggest things that's helped me keep going, get through blocks, continue on my journey, relate to others who are doing it as well. You can't do this without community. I mean, you can, but it's not nearly as fun and nourishing and supportive. So I really, really recommend, if you don't have supportive community, that you find one if you are on this journey or want to be on this journey. So the importance of community. Whilst being alone with time and space to work on and in your business is amazing, there's so much to gain from being in a community with others on the same path, who get it, get what it's like to be an empath entrepreneur, get what it's like to feel on this journey. The days when you want to hide under the duvet, the days when you have to say no to social events that you used to say yes to because you literally can't afford the transport fare, the times when you'd rather invest in your business than go out, the times when you'd rather go out than work on your business, times when you wonder why the hell you chose this path and think going back to a job would be so much easier. Then you remember that a job made you feel suffocated, so you re-energize and focus on your business. That feeling that you want to make a difference. That wonderful feeling when just one person lets you know that something you did or said affected them positively. Having a community is such a support for all the things that come up in business, as well as for growth, accountability, learning, inspiration, and much more. So I definitely invite you to get a community for this journey. So I know we're getting close on time, but I wanted to still share a visualization with you. I hope that's okay. It shouldn't be more than 10 minutes. And I think it can be quite supportive. So, because, you know, a lot of these things come down to fear, you know, these blocks. It's ultimately fear in some way, fear in a different way, different part of your being. So I wanted to, do a visualization for you guys just to help you connect with fear. If there's any fear coming up for you in any area, it could be about taking action, making a change, putting something out there in the world, trying something new, whatever it is. So just before we begin, just connect with that fear. Just start to bring something into your awareness and just start to notice it in your body. Just starting to bring awareness to that fear. So getting comfortable, lying down or sitting, whatever feels better to you. Gently lowering your gaze or closing your eyes. And just allowing your body to soften into whatever it is that you're sitting or lying on. And just feeling that support beneath you. And starting to bring breath into your lower belly, allowing it to soften. Feeling your heart beating in your chest. Feeling your breath move inside your lungs. Relaxing your jaw. Feeling your hips soften. Allowing your shoulders to drop. And just breathing. And just being present in your body. Now I invite you to bring up that feeling, that fear. The fear about taking an action, making a change, whatever it might be. Really bringing your awareness to it. Allowing yourself to feel it in your body. And letting it get bigger and bigger as you connect with it. But just remember to keep breathing into it as well, knowing that at any time it gets too much, you can gently bring yourself out of it. But I encourage you to stay with it, knowing that this part of you simply has something it wants to share with you. So really feeling it. Where do you feel it in your body? What shape is it? And what size is it? Does it have a color? And just keep breathing into it as you allow it to be there with you, acknowledging it and its messages for you. Now I invite you to make yourself really small and go into your body next to it. How does it feel to be standing next to it? Can you ask it what it's trying to tell you? Has there been another time in this life or another, perhaps, where you felt something similar? And what messages was it trying to share with you? Now that you're acknowledging it, how does it feel? Can you ask it what it needs from you to feel safe, loved, and held? Now I invite you to visualize yourself giving that to it right now. How does it feel now? Is there anything else that it needs? And are there any practical steps that you can take now and in the future to support it? Now, thanking this part of you for all that it's shared, really honoring you for going there. And just imagine bringing in some beautiful rose gold light into that space. And just breathing it in, filling you up. And just taking a few more breaths in this loving, nurturing rose gold light. And then when you're ready, you can slowly start to feel yourself back in your body. And bringing some gentle movement to your arms and legs. Stretching a bit. And then just feeling yourself back in the room that you're in. And then when you're ready, very gently and slowly opening your eyes, bringing yourself back.